Hi everyone, this is Dr. G. Amarendra Rao, Principal Vijnana Bharati Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. So in this session, let us derive the general heat conduction equation in Cartesian coordinate system, which may be an important question for the students writing their end semester examination, as well as those who are looking for engineering services. As you are aware, in Cartesian coordinate system, temperature would be a function of all the three spatial coordinates and time. Mathematically speaking, temperature would be a function of x, y, z and time. A general equation relating the temperature with all the four variables is known as the general heat conduction equation. This equation would be very useful to carry out conduction analysis under various conditions. And while deriving this equation, we will be invoking the first law of thermodynamics, Fourier law of heat conduction, and the Taylor series. And to carry out the derivation, we will consider an elemental volume in XYZ system. This X, this Y, and normal to the board, we have Z coordinate. Having dimensions of dx along x direction, dy along y direction, dz along z direction. And to make the situation more general, we will involve some sort of heat generation inside the element at a rate of q dot watts per meter cube. This heat may be generated because of some source inside the element. The source could be an electrical cable, it could be a combustion chamber or a furnace, and so on. And to represent all the energy quantities, let us explode this elemental volume as shown over here. And nomenclature is very much described. Del Qx is the rate of heat conducted into the element along x direction, and del Qx plus dx is the rate of heat conducted away from the element along x direction. And del Qy is the rate of heat conducted into the element along y direction. Del Qy plus dy is the rate of heat conducted away from the element along the y direction. Lastly, del Qz is the rate of heat conducted into the element along z direction. And del Qz plus dz is the rate of heat conducted away from the element along z direction. And inside, as I was mentioning earlier, we have heat generated at a rate of q dot watts per meter cube. And you may note that for x conduction, the area available is dy into dz. And for y conduction, the area available is dz into dx, this area. And for z conduction, it is dx into dy, which means that the area available in any direction is the product of remaining two coordinates. And these are the nomenclature, parameters mentioned. And the total volume of the element will be the product of all these three dimensions, dx, dy and dz. And first let us carry out the analysis along x direction. So del Qx, that is rate of heat conducted into the element, is minus Kx into area dy dz times del T by del x. Then the energy leaving the element along x direction can be expanded into Taylor series as del Qx plus del by del x del Qx dx. Then we introduce a term called del Qx comma s, which represents the heat stored in the element due to conduction along x direction in a time period of d tau. It's obviously energy coming in del Qx minus energy going out del Qx plus dx. Now we would incorporate the Taylor series for del Qx plus dx, then Fourier law for del Qx, and when you simplify it, we are going to get energy stored in the element due to conduction along x direction in a time period of d tau as del by del x kx del t by del x dv d tau. Here kx represents the thermal conductivity of the element along x direction. And we perform similar analysis along y direction to get del q y comma s as del by del y ky del t by del y dv d tau. Here ky stands for thermal conductivity of the element along y direction, and you may note that the area available for conduction along y direction is the product of z and x dimensions. Finally, we carry out the analysis along z direction to get del q z comma s as del by del x kz del t by del z dv d tau. where Kz is the thermal conductivity of the material along z direction, and you may note that the area available along z direction is dx into dy. Now we summarize all these three parameters and we'll have something called del Qx, which represents the total energy stored in the element due to conduction in all the three directions, that is x, y and z directions. And del Qs is simply the combination of del Qx, del Qy and del Qz. And if we supplement the equations for del Qx, del Qy and del Qz over here, we get del Qx as del by del x kx del t by del x plus del by del y ky del t by del y plus del by del z kz del t by del z times the volume of the element and the time period we have considered. Now due to internal heat generation, the total heat generated in the element in the time period of d tau is simply q dot times volume times the time period. So watts per meter cube into meter cube watts into time, that's going to be joules. That's the total heat that is generated. Now due to heat conduction and heat generation, the energy of the element would be enhanced by d in the same time period of d tau. And as per the first law of thermodynamics, this d is simply mc del T by del tau, so many watts times time period d tau. And we know that the mass is the product of density and volume, and if you substitute for m, and your increase in energy becomes rho c del T by del tau into dv into d tau. Now obviously the heat generated plus heat conducted should be equal to increase in energy of the element, which means that del Qs plus del Qg is equal to d. Now we substitute for del Qs, del Qg and d in this energy balance equation, and we cancel the common terms, that is volume and time. Then we are going to have del by del x kx del t by del x, which accounts for x conduction, del by del y ky del t by del y, which takes care of energy stored due to y conduction, plus del by del z kz del t by del z, which accounts for z conduction, plus q dot, that is energy stored in the element, energy generated in the element, should be equal to increase in energy of the system. Now this is the most general heat conduction equation in XYZ system or the Cartesian coordinate system. And this equation is impossible to solve. Luckily we don't require this equation as it is. Therefore we introduce some suitable assumptions. First and foremost, we assume that the material of the element is isotropic and homogeneous. The moment I say isotropic and homogeneous, it's going to have uniform properties, which means that kx is equal to ky is equal to kz is equal to k. And over here we take k common and we divide both sides by k to get del square t by del x square plus del square t by del y square plus del square t by del z square plus q dot by k is equal to 1 by alpha del t by del tau. Over here alpha stands for thermal diffusivity in meter square per second, which is given by k by rho c. Thermal diffusivity becomes very important in unsteady heat conduction. Now this is the most general heat conduction equation when the material is isotropic and homogeneous. Again, this equation is too formidable to think about. Now we'll introduce one more assumption, like there is nothing inside the system, no internal heat generation. So Q dot is equal to 0. As a result, X conduction plus Y conduction plus Z conduction should be equal to increase in energy of the system, and this equation is known as the famous Fourier equation. Then third is that we assume that steady state heat conduction, heat generation is there alright, but temperature does not vary with time. As a result, del T by del tau is equal to 0. Therefore, all the three conductions and heat generation together should be equal to 0. Now we combine this equation, we call it as Poisson's equation. Now next we combine both these concepts like steady state heat conduction and no heat generation. Temperature does not vary with time and nothing is there inside. Result taken three conductions together should be equal to 0, and this equation is known as the Laplace equation. Like this, one can formulate different types of ideas to simplify equation 7. I may say that I may say that 2D steady state heat conduction, no heat generation. So first two terms will be equal to 0. I may say 1D unsteady, no heat generation. Then del square T by del x square is equal to 1 by alpha del T by del tau. Okay, I may say 1D steady state with uniform internal heat generation. Then I am going to have first term plus fourth term is equal to 0. So this equation 6 can be modified, simplified to make it more and more meaningful and mathematically compatible. And the last, perhaps the most important, is one-dimensional steady-state heat conduction without internal heat generation, which means that temperature is a function of x only. It does not vary with y, z and time, and no heat generation. Since temperature is a function of x alone, all the terms will vanish, only first term will remain, and del can be replaced by d. D square t by dx square is equal to 0, and this equation can be integrated 2 times to get the temperature distribution followed by the heat transfer rate. So when you're asked to derive the general heat conduction equation, you can come up to here. Now based on this, one can formulate certain questions. First, let us see the questions appeared in the previous papers, IES as well as GATE. First question goes like this, which appeared in 1994. In case of one-dimensional steady heat conduction in a medium with constant properties, that is isotropic and homogeneous material, capital T is the temperature at any position x and time small t, then del capital T by del small t is proportional to. You've got various options. Obviously, the one which is given in green color is the correct one. That is del square T by del x square is equal to 1 by alpha del T by del tau. Alpha is a constant. Then one more question appeared in 2007. It's a simple numerical. Steady 2D heat conduction takes place in the body as shown in the figure. Then the normal temperature gradient over surfaces P and Q can be considered to be uniform. This figure is given to you. That is, temperature gradients are uniform. The temperature gradient del T by del x at Q over here is 10 Kelvin per meter. Surfaces P and Q are maintained at constant temperatures of 100 degrees centigrade, that is temperature of P, 0 degrees centigrade, that is temperature of Q, while the remaining part of the boundary is completely insulated. The body has a constant thermal conductivity of 0.1 watts per meter Kelvin. The values of del T by del x and del T by del y at surface P are del T by del x and del T by del y. Obviously, del T by del x will be 0 because temperature is uniform all along. Therefore, options A and C can be overruled. You are left with options B and D, and we are going to show that option D is perfectly correct. And the option D is perfectly correct just by making logic. Here you can see heat transfer can take place only at P and only at Q, remaining all are insulated. If you take unit depth, this area is 1 meter square, this area is 2 meter square. And the gradient over here is given as 10 Kelvin per meter. 10 Kelvin per meter. And here, since the area is half, the gradient must be double. So 10 should become 20. It's as simple as that. As a result, your option D should be correct. And if you solve it step by step, the body can have heat interactions only at surfaces P and Q. As mentioned, remaining surfaces are insulated. Rest of the surfaces are insulated. So from the figure, one may note that del T by del x at P is equal to 0, everywhere same temperature. Del T by del y at Q is equal to 0, everywhere you got 0 degrees centigrade. By making energy balance, we get heat conducted in at surface P is equal to heat conducted out at surface Q. And if you go for the equation minus Ka del T by del x plus del T by del y at P is equal to minus Ka del T by del x plus del T by del y at Q. Obviously del T by del x is 0 at P, del T by del y is 0 at Q. Now if you take thermal conductivity same, it gets cancelled, negative sign becomes positive. As I was mentioning, area at P is 1 into 1 meter square. Area at Q is equal to 2 into 1, 2 meter square. and del T by del X at Q is given 10, and if you calculate del T by del Y at P will be 2 times 10, that is 20 Kelvin per meter, and del T by del X at P is equal to 0. Therefore option D should be correct. So you can always do some simple calculations to prove this. And if you look at some general questions, in Fourier equation following condition is applicable. Just now we have seen that Fourier equation heat generation is 0. In Laplace equation following condition is applicable. Steady state, no heat generation, both the above, none of the above, definitely both the above. Then in Poisson's equation, again same options, you will have to go for option A, that is steady state heat conduction. Then one more question, governing differential equation for the temperature distribution in Cartesian coordinate system for 1D steady state heat conduction with uniform internal heat generation is given by. Obviously you have to go for option C, d square T by dx square, because 1D steady temperature is a function of x alone, plus q dot by k is equal to 0. Many students will go for this. You have to use partial derivative when temperature is a function of x as well as some other parameters. But since it is a function of only x, you have to use only total derivative d square T by dx square. And option B and option D are outruled. Many students may not go for them because only one single order equation. Then governing differential equation for temperature distribution in Cartesian coordinate system for 1D unsteady state heat conduction. 1D unsteady. A and B look alike, B and D look alike, but you have to go for B because del square T by del X square is equal to 1 by alpha del T by del tau. Since temperature is a function of x and time, it's 1D and unsteady, you have to use your partial derivative. This is partial derivative alright, but everywhere you got single order. This is the second derivative alright, but this is ordinary derivation. Therefore you have to be very careful. Then governing differential equation for the temperature distribution in Cartesian coordinate system for 2D steady state. 2D steady state. You have to go for option D, del square T by del X square plus del square T by del Y square is equal to 0. Many students may go for it, but temperature is a function of X and Y, therefore you cannot use ordinary differential. This single order, no way it is possible. This single order partial derivative, again no way it is possible. Therefore option D looks to be perfectly alright. So these are some of the simple questions pertaining to Cartesian coordinate system. So when we meet again, we'll derive the equation in cylindrical coordinate system. For the time being, have a nice time and practice this equation till you feel that you are comfortable. Bye bye, take care of yourself.